Hello! I've been asked to do a tutorial on how I did the awesome resin dipped handles for crochet hooks. So here is that video. Stuff you'll need, of course, crochet hooks and resin. This is the resin that I used. This stuff has a ridiculously potent fumes. I'm used to working with stinky stuff, and this is even really bad. So I highly recommend a respirator with cartridges that are rated for fumes. Also with UV resin, you're going to need UV light. I have this old CFL nail light. I think it was purchased at Sally Beauty Supply. I used to use it for nails. I got an LED one instead. So surface, and I'm wearing an apron. Take all the safety precautions, please. Another thing I've done is I've set my UV light so that it's pointing vertically, and I have a shelf here that I've put a pool noodle, and I've cut slits in it. But first things first, we have to prepare the crochet hooks. So I'm gonna take them out of their little wrappers, and I have some 220 grit sandpaper, and I do not coat past the size stamp like this thing here, so that way, you know, when you're trying to use these things, you know what size you have. And I'm doing a light scuff sand, very light. I don't want to remove the color that's anodized onto these hooks, but I do want to rough the surface up just a little bit so that when I go in with the resin, it has something to stick to. Get the end, make sure we're all good. And then coffee filters are my favorite lint-free wipe. And this is just some rubbing alcohol. I'm going to clean off the crochet hook. And now we're ready for resin, but that's just kind of how it is. And here's my resin. As you can see, I'm very low, but I have enough to do these two hooks, I'm pretty sure. It's probably going to be hard to see because this is a black void, but I will do my best. I'm kind of tilting it so I can get the resin up towards the edge here, and I'm just going to carefully dip and roll the crochet hook. And I shake off the extra. If there's a little bit of UV resin where I don't want it, I wipe it off really quick. And then I take it over to my light. And this is why this is only for crafting, because it gets drippy and messy in there. But I hold it in the light for about 20 seconds or so. And once it has flash cured, I hang it up there, right above the light, while I do the next one. Sometimes you just get these really weird long drips, and that's what your little cutters are for. And just snip that thing off.
Now all we've done so far is just flash curing these guys. These are still very much not cured. They're just not goopy and runny. So to give them their full cure, you've got two options. You can take them outside in your little pool noodle guy that you've been using and just set them outside for a few hours. Or you can keep using your UV light and stand them up on something. This is just some thick corrugated cardboard that came with something, I don't know. You can see I've used it to jam a lot of stuff in and paint stuff on. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my light, set it over top.
Now you're going to want to sand, because there's some random weird lumpy bumpy stuff that we want to take care of before we move on to the next step. I start off with 120 grit. It's really super coarse, but the resin that I used is really super hard, so this cuts through the really egregious stuff very quickly. And then to kind of get rid of some of the deeper scratches that the 120 leaves, I'll use the 320. What's helpful is to have some sort of hard sanding block like this guy, because that will help you get a more straight flare, I guess. And then when you're rounding your edges, all you have to do is just bend your sandpaper into a semicircle and work inside that semicircle. So I'm going to sand these guys up and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got these guys all nice and sanded. They're not polished or anything, they're just in the shape that I want them, and I've cleaned them with soap and water and let them thoroughly dry. So now they are ready for water marbling. And I don't happen to like that, so I'm just going to wipe it off and do it again. Alright, so I got it wiped off like it never even happened. We're just going to go again. No big deal. Come on. Too much and not too little. Just right. Okay. Alrighty, let's try this again. Yeah, I like that much better. Focus. Focus. Yeah, I like that a lot better. So I'm going to hang this on my little pool noodle contraption. And while I still have some stuff in here, might as well use it. Could use a little more. Right about there.
Okay, so we're going to be playing with resin again, so I have my respirator on. These guys are dry, and the next step is to put our final layers of resin on. I'm going to be using Solar Res Diamond Glaze Art Resin, and I got it in this quart size, and I put a little bit of it into this little bottle guy just so that it's easier to manage. I also have this manicurist's brush. It's for doing like acrylic manicures or what have you, and I only use this guy for resin just because I can't ever guarantee to myself that I've gotten all of the uncured resin out when I've cleaned it. So because it has a little cap and it keeps like the light from getting into it and all that, yada yada yada. So anyway, I have my lamp set up over here just like I did before, so it's ready to go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this on. I'm going to gently spread it out. I'm working slow. I'm not like on it because I don't want to introduce bubbles. There we go. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to flash cure it and then hang it and work on this next one. Now when I made these hooks for my sister-in-law the last time, I didn't have this stuff. I only had this stuff. And the stuff in the tub, while it's very hard and solid and durable, it sucks as a final coat. And when you think you got it on smooth, when you put it in the light, it wrinkles up and it gets all gross. So what I had to do when I used this stuff as my final coat is, once it was out of the light, I then had to sand it again and then sit there and polish it. I had to go through the grits. I did 220, 350, 600, 1200, and then I had to sit there with some plastic polish and polish it up really well. Took forever. This stuff, it's saving me a ton of elbow grease and a ton of time. Anyway, now that we're done with story time, go ahead and coat this guy.
And here they are, fresh out of the light. They are supremely shiny and smooth. Holy crap, that Solar Res Diamond stuff is amazing. It dries completely, like there's no tackiness on it at all. They're amazing. Yeah, highly recommend this stuff. It isn't cheap, but you're paying for what you get. What can I say? A little close up here. I mean, they're just, it's smooth as glass. Look at that shine. That's some good stuff right there. Alright, that's how I customize crochet hooks. I hope you guys enjoyed, and maybe I'll do a tutorial on some other random weird stuff I make. Anyway, hope you have a good one. Bye!